ESPN presents the HFC Hydroplane Series. This week, the Budweiser Indiana Governor's Cup. The HFC Hydroplane Series is brought to you by HFC, Household Finance Corporation, America's financial resource. And by Pringles, the fever reliever.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Hendrick, along with Dick Crippen, here on the banks of the Ohio River in Madison, Indiana. Dick, it doesn't seem possible, but this is the 40th anniversary that these folks have sponsored a race site, 40 years of Thunderboat racing here in Madison.
And in those 40 years, they've seen a lot of changes in the boats. They've seen a lot of progressions, most markedly in the last couple of years. This field today typifies at 6 turbine boats along with 3 pistons, so the competition is going high-tech.
And they really are. And look, this is the 4th race of the year already. 1/3 of the way through, and the HFC High Point standings really tight. Miss Budweiser, winner of the last 2 events, only holds a 375-point lead over Miss Circus Circus. That's going to be a tight race right down to the end. And how about this course?
Well, this is a tight course, to coin a phrase. This is one that sees the 3 and 4 turn half the size of what turns 3 and 4 were last week in Evansville. So a boat trying to hold the inside could have a problem. They've been giving the boats their head as far as going out on the course through those turns for the speed runs, the qualifying. They've set a new course record here, but in order to do it, they had to go way to the outside of the course.
And speaking of tight turns, in a qualifying run the other day, Steve David took the brand new U-19 out. He spun it in corners number 3 and 4 at the apex, and we had a chance to talk to him. In testing yesterday, your brand new boat took a little bit different ride than you expected. What happened?
Well, Jim, we had it up to about 200 miles an hour going into the bridge, and when I set up for the turn, there were some rollers, and apparently we took a dip in a roller, and when we did, the sponson followed the wake, and it kind of spun out, went up on its side, and laid back down right side up, but everything's fine, and we're ready to go today.
Let's take a look at the weather conditions here at race time. Temperature at 90 degrees, that's a little bit hot. Humidity is moderate, but it is calm on the water.
We've got a lot of excitement coming here in Madison, Indiana, and we'll have it all in just a moment. Jim Hendrick along with Dick Crippen back here at Madison, Indiana. Now let's take an inside look at unlimited hydroplane racing with Performance Corner. Brought to you by the Performance Corner people. For the store nearest you, dial 1-800-533-8989. Let's go to Dick Crippen. Dick?
Here's some fancy unlimited hydroplane terminology for you. Hanging it on the hook. What does it mean? Let's go to Doug Ford. What does that mean, hanging it on the hook?
Well, Dick, really hanging it on the hook refers to sticking the boat in the corner and loading up the skid fin. This is a skid fin. Much like the keel on a sailboat or a centerboard on a surfboard, this is what makes the boat turn. It carries tremendous loads, up to 6,000 to 25,000 pounds of load, shoots up a tremendous wall of water when they turn. And we're very concerned about the safety of these also. If one of these fins were to break or pull off the boat, in a corner, the boat may do a flip to the inside or run over somebody, which could be very, very serious. Very high loads, very critical to performance. The skid fin is probably the most important add-on piece of hardware any of these Unlimiteds have.
So when you watch the Unlimited racers, watch for that second rooster tail in the turn, because that's the skid fin.
Top qualifier, Miss Budweiser at 150.5. The rest of the field in tight. The top 4 boats all over the 140 mark. Now let's check the starting lineups.
In Heat 1A, the Hulset Miss Madison, driven by Mike Hansen. The Miss Budweiser, U1, Tom Deeth, the driver. The U8, Mr. Pringles, George Woods Jr. The U7, Paddock Pools, Jerry Hopp. Rounding out the field, Mitch Evans in the U3, Cooper's Express.
As they come down for the start, Miss Budweiser, Dick has the inside lane, and here comes the field.
But look at Mike Hansen. Lane 4 comes power on, trying to beat out the Budweiser to the start. On the outside of him, the Jiff presents Mr. Pringles. There's the start, and it's about even Steven. Beside the inside boat, the red and white Miss Budweiser, and the blue and white Hulset Miss Madison with the multicolored Jiff presents Mr. Pringles on the outside. As they complete the first of the turns in 3 laps out here today, the Miss Budweiser, Tom Deeth, has taken over the lead and is distancing himself on the rest of the field.
This is a different type of format where usually 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B see 5-lap preliminary heats. These are called sprints. 3 laps only, but there's more of them. They all have to run an extra preliminary heat section to get into the finals. So they have to go really out, put the foot down. They only have 3 laps. They cannot make a mistake as we come to the conclusion of lap number 1.
Well, there we saw a contrast in taking the turns. The Jiff presents Mr. Pringles going way to the outside. Miss Budweiser, Tommy Deeth at 130.553 miles per hour, held to the inside of the course and still held his speed very high. Jiff presents Mr. Pringles a little bit light on its ride, but George Woods is holding it in, now taking second place.
Out of 3 races this year, this boat, the Miss Budweiser, won Detroit the Gold Cup, won the last race in Evansville, Indiana. The Circus, who will make its appearance in the next heat, has won the opener at Miami, looking to even the score here today as they go under the Milton Bridge, crossing the Ohio River, and look at your number 2 boat.
A good ride by George Woods Jr., but we noticed that boat, along with the Miss Budweiser, tending to get a little bit light on the back straight. Now, Tom Deeth expressed a little concern about especially the 1 and 2 turns here at Madison, Indiana, because he said they were roughing up a little bit. That comes pretty close to the shoreline, and it gets a little bit tough when those rollers come back out.
These boats literally fly over the water, about 9 square inches of each sponson, half the prop. You see they're more airborne than on the water, thus the name Hydroplane.
Tom Deeth becoming more pilot than he is driver of this craft as it shoots across the top of the water and tries to hold that balance between water and air. There's Holsett Miss Madison. This is running very well, this boat today on the Madison home course. Mike Hansen would like nothing more than to hear those cheers for that checkered flag if he should take it, because, of course, these folks here in Madison, Indiana have an investment in this boat. As we continue around the turns, Tom Deeth coming. Whoa! Tom takes a pop out of the water, brings it flat down, puts the gun to it. The checkered flag is waving. Tom Deeth is going to come home with his first win of the day, and that's going to make him pretty happy because it gives him a distance on the field as far as points are concerned. He looks to the starting tower now, sees the checkered flag. Miss Budweiser is the winner of Heat 1A.
400 points for Miss Budweiser and 300 points for this second place rainbow-colored Jiff presents Mr. Pringles here in Heat 1A.
The entire crew of that boat working hard, and they've got to be pleased with the second place finish in the first race of the day here at Madison, Indiana. The hometown boat coming in third place, Mike Hansen and the Holsett Miss Madison. And I know the fans on the shoreline are happy about that. They really get behind the boat. There you see the finish with Miss Budweiser leading the way. Let's go to the docks and Jim Hendrick.
Another lap and a heat record for you, Tom.
Well, it was a good start, and just wanted to keep the Budweiser out front, keep those points coming, and the records, I guess, are just coming automatically.
Bernie, your driver wasn't across the starting line first, but he came out of that first turn first, the short way.
He sure did. He went around the course the short way, and Miss Budweiser's performing well, so is Tommy. So we're out there to win.
Tommy, that first turn, it looks a little dangerous, especially when you're going to have, let's say, 6 boats in the final.
That's right. You're really going to have to be careful because there just isn't a lot of room down there. There's probably room for about 2, maybe 3, not 6.
The HFC Hydroplane Series from Madison, Indiana. The Budweiser Indiana Governor's Cup. More action in just a moment.
Jim Hendrick and Dick Crippen here at Madison, Indiana. A good crowd on hand. Heat 1B coming up, and one of the leading contenders, well, Dick is with him right now.
Certainly one of the boats you're going to have to watch very closely in this race is Miss Circus. And Chip Hanauer, number 1, the speeds. This week, people seem a little more clustered.
Yeah, the speeds are getting close together, but I think an unfortunate situation. I think we're starting to outgrow some of our race courses. The speeds are just simply too much for the race courses like in Miami. And I would begin to think here in Madison now that the speeds really are too much for these race courses to handle.
I noticed one thing in your qualifying runs, as you did, everybody did, and that is way far to the outside, especially in 3 and 4.
It's everybody. There's so much momentum now with these boats that everybody wants to run on the outside, and there's just not room. We're here on a very narrow race course, and there's probably only 1 or maybe 2 proper lines, and the rest of them just are impossible to get a boat around, and I think that's going to mean trouble, and that's what I mean by, I think, outgrowing the race courses.
Jim Kropfeld will drive the Winston Eagle. Circus to be driven by the man we just heard from, Chip Hanauer. The new U-19, Bob Fendler and Steve Davids, Easter Seals. Jim Harvey's Old Boy Oberto to be driven by Mark Tate. And speaking of Mark Tate, today he drives with new power, a turbine engine.
Well, I think I'm more suitable to drive a turbine than I am a piston power coming from the limited inboards. The pistons, you got to watch a lot more gauges and manifold pressure and use the nitrous and those types of things. The turbine's just raw power and just push the pedal down and go.
Lane number 1 is Oh Boy Alberto, Circus Circus. Lane 2, Winston Eagle in lane 3, and the Easter Seals in lane 4 as Circus Circus and Winston Eagle start battling it out in the first turn. This the first of 3 laps on the Madison, Indiana course. Chip Hanauer managing to come out the leader. The pink and white lady, as he likes to call her, from Circus Circus, is now your leader.
32 foot long, width 14 feet. Weight, 6,000 pounds, and that turbine engine, that Lycoming T55 humming as they come under the bridge on the back chute of lap number 1.
And we're watching the boats very closely on the back chute because that's where they tended to lighten up in the first heat, and it looks like they're getting light in this heat also, so that could be a problem area as the races go on today. To the left of your screen, second place, that's the Winston Eagle, Jim Kropfeld. You remember they brought this boat back out after trying a brand new boat the first couple of races. There's the lap speed on the Miss Circus Circus, 127.568 miles per hour. The Winston Eagle boat, as we told you, is the older boat, and it's handling a lot better. So they feel more comfortable. They'll get some points and meanwhile continue to test the other one.
And likewise, Dick, this team also has a brand new turbine boat, and it's on hand, and they've been testing a couple of days before each race before they replace this proven hull with the new one.
First place is the Miss Circus Circus into lap number 2. The Winston Eagle is in second place with Jim Kropfeld behind the wheel. Oh Boy Alberto, the new turbine-powered boat, is now in third with another turbine, Easter Seals, in fourth place. A beautiful shot of the Circus Circus boat coming out of the turn. We talked earlier about the skid fin. You could see in the turn very clearly that second rooster tail kick up. Still in second place, the Winston Eagle taking a little bit wider berth underneath the bridge in Madison, Indiana.
How about this point, Dick? This boat right now at 125.6. Chip Hanauer has slowed it down, but he knows now one more lap to go. 400 points for him. It'll be 300 points for the Winston Eagle with Jim Kropfeld, and 225 points for the third place boat, Oh Boy Alberto. At the end of all the elimination heats, they now accumulate the points, and only the top 5 or 6 point getters, depending on how they vote, will get into the final. And this brand new boat, of course, looking to improve race by race. The Easter Seals, driven by Steve David.
And, of course, they're still experimenting, sort of, with the Oh Boy Alberto. Mark Tate, the driver, they put that turbine engine there. They had run with it earlier in the year with the piston packer. That boat riding in third. This is your leader coming around the final turn now as Chip Hanauer looks to the starting tower to see if he can see the checkered flag waving. There it is. It's waving off the tower now. Chip Hanauer knows he has to just cross the line, take the checkered flag. He has now equalized the Miss Budweiser as far as points on the day so far. So that battle of those two continues to heat up and get set for the final later this afternoon.
Second place goes to the veteran Jim Kropfeld, who lives just upriver a little bit in Cincinnati, Ohio, driving Steve Woomer's Day Glow Red Winston Eagle. Here's third place, Jim Harvey's Beef Jerky, Oh Boy Alberto, driven by Mark Tate, the rookie this year. And fourth place goes to the Easter Seals, and Steve David will pick up 169 points.
Chip, you didn't have much of a challenge out there on that one. The other boats were staying their distance back from you. How did you find the water conditions and such?
It's Madison, which means it's a bit lumpy, especially down in the first corner. I think with more boats in the final, it's going to be even rougher.
All right, what about the turn? You went through that turn. You seem to be riding the middle lane out there.
Yeah, everything seems all right. You know, we didn't run the boat at 10/10 by any means. You know, these elimination heats are never quite as intense as the final, so you don't want to abuse the equipment.
And now it's time to redraw for competition in heats 2A and 2B, and we'll have it for you on the HFC Hydroplane Series in just a moment. We're getting set for action in heats 2A and 2B here on the Ohio River in Madison, Indiana. Dick Crippen is with a veteran of 29 years.
Well, another stop, and will it be another win for Bernie Little? Bernie, this could be the third consecutive, which would be pretty nice.
Well, it would be outstanding, and needless to tell you that we're here to win this race. Madison, Indiana has just been in my blood for, 29 years on the 4th of July, and so the Miss Budweiser's ready. We're sitting here with our number 1 and number 2 boat, and we busted that 150 mark this morning, so we're feeling real good, and we're going out again here this afternoon. see if we can better that a little bit.
As the streamlined unlimited hydros take to the course for Heats 2A, let's take a look at the difference in hull design. Let's take a look at yesterday. Earlier this season, back in Detroit, we took a look at a boat called the Miss US that set the world record of 200.419 mile an hour back in 1962. That was 28 years ago. Meet the driver, Roy Doobie. Roy, isn't it amazing that your record of 200.419 mile an hour has stayed all these years, especially with that old design boat?
Yes, well, we had good straightaway speed when we compare it to competition, driving oval courses like they have in Madison here. We couldn't corner like these modern boats do because the hulls are a different configuration.
Now, to get that record, you had to go through the mile traps, APBA authorized, 2 ways. It was the average of two runs, wasn't it?
This is right. You have to make a run one way and then turn around and come back the other. It was an average time between the two.
How old are you now, Roy?
78.
78 years old. Would you get in one of these boats now?
Well, I'd be curious to see how these turbines are going. I might take a little ride if I was offered.
As the boats group up, there is one thing on the mind of all drivers.
Tight turns here on the Ohio River, and that means there's probably only 1 or 2 proper lanes around here, and the rest of them are really going to be fighting for room to race.
We have the Winston Eagle, Miss Budweiser, Miss Circus Circus, Old Boy Alberto, Cooper's Express coming down to the start. This is going to be a fast heat, Dick.
It looks like it's shaping up right off the top, and there goes the Miss Budweiser taking this good start on the Ohio River. The Circus Circus on the inside, Chip Hanauer trying to get him, and they are going to try to even up coming out of the turn. And you can see Miss Budweiser got light, a little roller action right where Tommy Deeth was worried about it.
And look at them. Deck to deck is now the Miss Budweiser. Edges it forward. Down the back chute for the first time along the Kentucky side of this race course. Look at Chip Hanauer hanging in lane number 1. Just off the pace. This is going to be tight.
Chip Hanauer has got to be remembering just a week ago in Evansville, Indiana, when he caught the rooster tail in a situation just like this from the Miss Budweiser and took a wild ride. The inside to right of your screen is the shorter course. Chip Hanauer takes advantage of it, and he's trying to even up the Miss Budweiser on the inside.
They're almost side by side now, Dick, as they come down to complete lap number 1. But in lane 2, Miss Budweiser shows a short lead at 134.987 mile an hour.
And Miss Budweiser getting very light down that front straightaway. Tom Deeth doing a great job of handling it. Here's where she got light earlier. She handles through beautifully. But again on the inside, the pink lady, Miss Circus Circus, tries to even it up. So Chip Hanauer keeps his foot in it, keeps the power on. He will not give Tom Deeth any room at all to pull inside.
And by pushing him, he may push him to another record. In 1A, the Miss Budweiser with Tom Deeth averaged 128.7, which beat the old record by about 6 miles an hour and could go faster now. And again, it's the Circus Circus, Dick, taking the lead at the apexes of corners 3 and 4.
Both of those boats are fighting rollers out there. Tom Deeth going very close to the bridge as he comes wide on the course, trying to keep his speed very high. Both boats seem even up as they come down the front straightaway. Look at that time, 137.499. Again, we emphasize average speed for the oval.
Now that competition lap record with the Circus Circus finishing in front on lap number 2, that is a new competition lap record for this course at 137.4.
Now the question is, can Circus Circus hold on to it? You look like you're looking at one hydroplane actually right off of your screen now is the Miss Budweiser charging hard. Tom Deeth is not going to let the Circus Circus get away from him. Chip Hanauer on this final lap of 3 on the Ohio River is looking up for that checkered flag. He'd like nothing better than to take it and to beat out the Miss Budweiser. Let's see if we can see the Miss Budweiser pop out from that rooster tail as they come around the turn. Watch to your left. There she is. Tom Deeth is power on. Both boats are coming at full speed down to the finish line. The inside boat to the right of your screen, the Miss Circus Circus. The Miss Budweiser, the crowd is yelling wildly as they root for their favorite boat, and it is Miss Budweiser by about 1/8 of an inch.
And only because the Circus Circus started to fly and Budweiser stayed down in the water was he able to eke out this victory in 2A. Third place in Heat 2A will be Jim Cropfeld in the Winston Eagle. And overall fourth will go to Old Boy Alberta with Mark Tate. Fifth will be Cooper's Express. Let's go to the pits.
A little bit of excitement on the Budweiser pit right now. I got to tell you, Bernie, do you make it through that all right?
No. Oh, God, I tell you, both boats were up pretty high there several times, and I kept saying, put your foot in it, Tommy. He put his foot in it and drug him to the finish line, and that's where we wanted to be.
All right, Tommy, now the second lap around, you let him pull you a little bit down this front straightaway. Were you letting him pull you, or did you know you had the power?
No, I just got in some bad water, and I had to get Miss Budweiser back on the water again. And by the time I got it back on the water again, he had position on me, and then I was waiting for some decent water, and I spotted a lane that was pretty free and clear to the clock, so I just remembered that for the finish line and did kind of like a slingshot at the end.
Well, Chip, I got to tell you, in all my times of covering Unlimiteds, I've never quite seen a finish like that.
Yeah, it was kind of hard even to tell where I was sitting, but it looked like they had us by a half a boat length.
I don't think it was quite that much when you look back in there. It was like 600th of a second or something like that. But you actually led him down the front straightaway on the second lap, and I was trying to determine in my own mind whether you were playing with it or not.
No. I think he got a bit light, and he had to back off, and that enabled us to catch him up. But they're real fast.
The fastest race boats in the world continue for the Budweiser Indiana Governor's Cup in just a moment.
Welcome back to Madison, Indiana on the Ohio River, where today the world's fastest race boats are being hosted by the Wholesome Miss Madison.
The Miss Madison racing teams have had many good drivers, one of which was George W. Buddy Byers, who was also the Unlimited Commissioner for a while. Now, Buddy, you were here in 1971 when Jim McCormick won in front of the hometown fans. A very emotional victory for that driver.
Well, definitely, and I think also for Madison, Indiana, because, you know, I feel like this is my second home. I've been coming here for probably 35 or 40 years, and I always let my family vote where they'd like to go, what race, and it's always Madison, Indiana, so we're all here this year.
Is it true that you were the highest paid driver in Madison history?
Well, I don't know what you mean by highest paid driver. They gave me $1 a year. One time I remember I didn't like the paint job on the Miss Madison, so I took it back to my body shop or my paint shop, and I repainted it. Of course, they wouldn't pay me, but I still had a pretty boat.
One of the most unique stories in all of racing, the Wholesome Miss Madison, a community-owned boat.
The host boat for this event is the Wholesome Miss Madison, and it's the only racing team I know of on land, sea, or water that is totally supported by a community, and your community, 13,000 owners, and you represent those 13,000 owners, Bob Hughes, and how long have you been doing that?
Jim, this is my 21st year as president of the organization, and this is our 30th year of racing, and we're quite proud of that heritage here in Madison, Indiana.
Now, 13,000 owners, you can't please them all, so I imagine you have to hold this together. How do you raise funds to have such a nice boat that you have here in 1990?
We have several fundraising events a year. We have a steering committee that raises money. We have a dance and a golf tournament. We sell hats and pins and buttons and shirts and etc. And plus, we have sponsors in Holston Engineering and Valvoline that helps us out. So we have a lot of money to raise, and it's never enough. We're a not-for-profit organization. We prove that year in, year out.
And present-day driver Mike Hansen, you also have become community involved. I understand you moved here.
Yeah, I moved here 15th of January and now work full-time on the Wholesome Miss Madison. I'm basically responsible for the boat and all the propeller end of the deal, and the rest of the crew takes care of the motors. But, yeah, I'm now a resident of Madison, Indiana.
Fine tradition because it's a fine team.
Yeah, they've been racing for over 30 years now, and they've been racing longer than I've been alive, so that means a lot to me. It's the oldest race team out here, and I'm just real proud to represent the city of Madison and Holset and drive their beautiful boat.
And the city of Madison is not only proud of Mike Hansen, they're proud of their city. It is a great city, a fun city, and this is all part of a festival with the firemen getting involved. And of course, what could be more beautiful over the Midwest than to see the beautiful hot air balloons as they take off and race over the gorgeous countryside. Festival week means a big parade, and of course we say Midwest, cows, kids, it's all part of the family spirit in Madison, Indiana. Madison is a historical setting for these United States. If you ever have the opportunity to stop by, they'd welcome you with open arms, and you would see a good bit of American history. But today you're seeing good unlimited hydroplane racing. The Mr. Pringles, Wholesome Miss Madison, Easter Seals, and Paddock Pools ready to go in Heat 2B as they come down to the start. There's the Mr. Pringles taking it in the lead with the Wholesome Miss Madison on the outside.
Mr. Pringles with George Woods Jr. comes out of that lane and off the exit pin, down the back chute. Look at all the campers, Dick. There are thousands on that Kentucky side, and they've been here all weekend just to see this event.
Coming out of the first turn, there was a little battle between the multicolored Jif Presents Mr. Pringles that you're looking at in the center of your screen and the bright yellow boat known as Easter Seals with Stephen David driving. Jif Presents Mr. Pringles took the lead and so far is having a very nice ride. George Woods Jr. just trying to get this team into the points race on the Unlimited circuit this year. Hulset Miss Madison holding in tight in second place right now on the outside of the course. 121.849 for the Jif Presents Mr. Pringles. A decent speed, not as fast as he can go. There's no sense banging up the equipment. And look at the ride he's taking again in turn number 2 where Tommy Deeth had some problems with the Miss Budweiser earlier.
The exit pin starting down the back chute is really lumping over. There has to be a sandbar there, and the waves never seem to dissipate. They seem to hang in there, and that presents a little danger to these drivers as they hit into turn number 1, slide it sideways, and then try to straighten up the back chute. They're going to take some rocks today.
Jif Presents Mr. Pringles leading the pack. Hulset Miss Madison in second place now with the Easter Seals boat in third. We might say also that the Hulset Miss Madison boat is hoping that they will have another sponsor come on board that will provide them with a turbine engine. The boat was actually built with the idea of going to a turbine engine, so some slight modifications and they'd have it. 124.039 for George Woods Jr. and the Jif Presents Mr. Pringles. A comfortable lead now over the second place boat, Hulset Miss Madison, and this boat in third, the Easter Seals with Stephen David.
And this boat is designed, Dick, that someone can take a ride in it. It has a second seat, but I don't know if I want to volunteer. I'll volunteer you.
The second seat rider gets to look out a little porthole in the side that you can see very clearly now as we take a close-up shot of the U-19. See the little porthole right behind the driver in the boat. That's where the second person can sit. And I agree with you, Jim. I'll watch the second guy sit in there, not me. There's the Jif Presents Mr. Pringles coming into the final turn. A very fast lap, incidentally, for George Woods Jr. He's coming around now to see the checkered flag flying high above. He's got to feel very happy. They've been building to this win for a couple of races. George Woods Jr., Jif Presents Mr. Pringles. A lot of the folks from the sponsor here today to watch as that checkered flag flies high over the Ohio River. The winner in Heat 2B. Second place, back a little bit off the pace, is Mike Hansen of Madison, Indiana, in the Hulset Miss Madison, followed by the Easter Seals and the Paddock Pools.
George, it looks like you're still flying even in this heat when you're trying to tame the boat down.
Yeah, we're playing with a little bit of wings, and we've got another propeller we're going to try next heat. We did some odds and ends that didn't improve the boat as much as we thought we could get out of that first heat.
Watching the last heat between the Budweiser and the Miss Circus, does that psychologically bother you and see how fast those guys were going?
No, I just wished I'd have been in the middle of it, you know. We're here to race, and well, I'll tell you what, the Jif Presents Mr. Pringles, we're coming along a little at a time, but we're going to be up there pretty soon.
The HFC Hydroplane Series continues with more racing in the Budweiser Indiana Governor's Cup in just a moment.
Back here on the Ohio River, we're looking in the cockpit of veteran Jim Kropfeld, who's raced on this race course many times before, but this year, the first time he's in the seat of the Winston Eagle.
It has not been the easiest of years for the Winston Eagle crew. Jim Kropfeld and the entire crew for the Winston Eagle have been fighting some tough battles. Changed boats, came back last week, did fairly well with it, and now you're working on it and improving it more.
Well, that's right. We did quite well at Evans. Actually surprised myself that we turned the 150 because there's plenty more left there in the engine compartment, and we're trying to tame the boat down and get it the way I feel I like to drive a boat. I have to be comfortable out there and be able to do my job without thinking about anything else except racing. So the guys really been working hard. We were up Cincinnati all week and working till 1 and 2 in the morning and back in there at 7 or 8 the next morning. And I kind of feel sorry for them. I'm making them work so hard all the time, but that's the name of the game is racing, and we want to be fast and we want to be the best, so we have to work at it.
And they'll work at it now at Heat 3A as Jim Kropfeld will take the seat of Steve Woomer's Winston Eagle. Big competition coming from Chip Hanauer in the Miss Circus. Jerry Hopp and Al Thorson's Paddock Pools U7. Mike Hansen in the host boat, Hulset Miss Madison. And rounding out the field, Steve David in Bob Fendler's Miss Easter Seals.
On the inside of the course, it is the Winston Eagle along with Paddock Pools. Circus is in lane 3, and Circus right now is taking the lead. Circus in the center of your screen. The start of Heat 3A. Chip Hanauer trying to take command early on. The main challenge he sees out there right now is the Winston Eagle boat, that being driven by Jim Kropfeld. As he comes out of the turn, seems to be a little bit heavier in the water. I think he's slowed down a little bit coming out. The water looks like, Jim, it's chopping up pretty good.
In that particular corner number 2, they've had problems all day long. Look on the inside. Coming up in second place is Jim Kropfeld in a much improved Winston Eagle.
They've been working very closely with Jim Kropfeld on honing that boat and trying to get it a little bit faster. He's holding very solid on the inside of the course, which is a good indication of handling. That is a problem they had with the boat earlier on. Now it is Chip Hanauer choosing to go to the outside of the course to try to keep his speed up, sort of like Tom Deeth did earlier when he was battling in the heat previous. So Chip Hanauer has the lead right now, but he is certainly keeping an eye in his left mirror to see exactly how the Winston Eagle is doing. Back in third place, the host boat, the Wholesome Miss Madison, Mike Hansen, the driver.
We're on lap number 2 of 3. Remember, these are 3-lap sprints. You get 400 points for first, 300 for second, 225 for third, as we look at Jim Kropfeld currently in second place. He started racing in 1964 and joined the unlimited ranks, the major league of hydroplane racing, if you will, in 1982.
And coming into this season, Jim Kropfeld bragged 22 wins in 54 races. That's over 40%, which is a pretty darn good average for unlimited hydroplane racing.
And this man right here, Chip Hanauer, leads all drivers in victories, with the exception, of course, the legendary Bill Munsey. He's second all time, but leading in victories in current-day drivers.
Winston Eagle boat settling down a little bit more, riding in second place. There's your leader going into the turn again. That is Chip Hanauer in the boat he likes to call the Pink Lady, the Miss Circus Circus. Stephen David in Bob Fendler's Easter Seals boat. They actually co-own the boat. Stephen is the one who is assigned to drive it. This is a new turbine boat that qualified for his first race right out of the box. Now they're in their second day of major racing, and they're hoping that they'll qualify for the championship heat here in Madison, Indiana.
Right now, the strategy will, let's sit in first place, of course, for Chip Hanauer, 400 points. The Winston Eagle with Jim Kropfeld and the third place boat here, the Wholesome Miss Madison, will take 225 points. They are now going to set. The points will be accumulated. This is the last time these boats make an appearance before the final.
Chip Hanauer adding 400 more points to his total for the day as he completes the course and finishes with the checkered flag waving for him, the winner of Heat 3A. Chip Hanauer in the Miss Circus Circus. Coming in second place now will be the Winston Eagle boat, Jim Kropfeld, and that's kind of got to make them happy because they've really been working on settling this boat down. Chip giving a little acknowledgement wave there to the guys up on the official stand to let them know he saw that checkered flag. Third place, the host boat, Wholesome Miss Madison, Mike Hansen out of Madison, Indiana. And here's fourth place. This is the Easter Seals boat, Steve David, the driver. They're going to be happy with that. We'll see if they make the final field. Then rounding out the field is Jerry Hopp in the Miss Paddock Pools, the U7.
Circus Circus wins Heat 3A, and there's the rest of the order of finish. Let's go to the pits. Dick?
All right, Chip, what'd you learn on that one?
Well, not much. We learned that we have a setup that we like better than this one. We really weren't happy with this one, and we were lucky that we didn't draw the bud because I think they probably would have beat us pretty handily with this.
All right, Chip, the 3-heat format, how do you like that? I mean, 3 laps and you got to do everything you do.
It really makes no difference to me. I think it's whatever the fans like. You know, if the fans like this, then I think it's great. If they prefer the other, then we'll do the other.
One more elimination section to go before the finals, and we'll have it all for you in just a moment. Some drivers played musical chairs with their race boats since last year. Dick Crippen is with one of them right now.
One of the drivers to swing into a new boat this year was George Woods, who took over the seat in the JIF Presents Mr. Pringles. And George, the boat has been getting better and better. You've been feeling more and more comfortable, and I guess you're kind of capping it at this point.
Yeah, that's all we can do, Dick, because I've been driving now for 4 years. This will be my 4th season, and it's my first season in a turbine, and the turbine is quite a step from what I was used to. This thing has just built some awesome horsepower, and the guy's been giving me a little bit at a time, and we've been picking our speeds up and getting faster and faster just so I can get comfortable with it.
Now let's check Heat 3B. Tommy Deeth in the Miss Budweiser. George Woods Jr., who he just heard from in Mr. Pringles. Mark Tate in Oh Boy Oberto. Mitch Evans in the Cooper Boys, Cooper's Express, and here they come.
Center screen is George Woods Jr. in the Jiff Presents Mr. Pringles. To the right of your screen is the Miss Budweiser. Tom Dietz powers on at the start of the race. He wants to get the advantage going into the turn. He's on the inside of the course, which we've been saying all day is the short way around. He comes through that trouble spot in turn number 2, and he's holding it beautifully as he comes down on the back straight. He powers on once again. Remember, we've pointed out so many times these boats actually slide through the turns, and they power on as they hit the straightaway. Second place right now, George Woods Jr. in the Jiff Presents Mr. Pringles.
George is getting a pretty good ride coming down that back chute now and sets himself in second place behind the Budweiser. And you can see the difference now as the Miss Budweiser comes off of corner number 4 and comes down to complete lap number 1 of 3 coming under the bridge.
Jim, I don't know if George Woods Jr. had a problem or not, but he went way to the outside and actually has to cut inside to catch the course again, inside of the big column on the bridge that crosses the river. But he seems to have control of the boat. We'll have to check and see if he had a problem. 130.813 for the Miss Budweiser on lap number 1.
He has a problem. He's been penalized 1 lap by the referees for going off the race course and coming back in. So he will not be currently in second place, although his position shows it. That'll bring Old Boy Alberto up to official second place.
That's got to make Mark Tate and his crew happy with the Old Boy Oberto. They are officially being listed as second place now. Again, to review for you, they had a big outside run by the Jiff Presents Mr. Pringles. He actually went off the course and came back on, so he has been penalized a lap. Still your leader and uncontested, the Miss Budweiser, Tom Dietz. Tom driving a very solid and very conservative race this time around, knowing the championship heat lies just ahead. There you see the turbine-powered Oh Boy Oberto, Mark Tate, now in second place. The boats as they run show Jiff Presents Mr. Pringles in second. He has been penalized the lap. 128.537 for the Miss Budweiser on lap number 2.
You know how close the HFC High Point Championship is to this point, Dick Crippen? I'll tell you. The Miss Budweiser must finish first here to maintain a 375-point lead over the Miss Circus Circus, who now currently, as we're running, leads by 25 points by virtue of their 400-point win just minutes ago.
And as we look closely at the Oh Boy Alberto, look at the tail section. They've got damage on the boat. If it comes into the screen, you'll see there's like a chomp mark out of the tail fin there, so there could be a problem with that boat. It is currently being challenged by Mitch Evans in the Cooper's Express, but still holding on to second place. The Miss Budweiser, an uncontested leader from flag to flag. The checkered flag comes out over the Ohio River again this afternoon. And again, Tom Dietz comes home the winner, this time in the final qualification heat of the day as they get ready for the championship later on. The winner in Heat 3B, Tom Dietz in the Miss Budweiser.
Average winning speed for the 3 laps, 126.1. Here's your second place finisher, Mark Tate and Oh Boy Alberto.
Oh Boy Alberto with that damaged upright on its tail, and there you can see the Cooper's Express finished as third, Mr. Pringles in fourth. Let's go down to the pits and Jim Hendrick.
Ron, you have to be satisfied so far with the way things are going.
Very much so, Jim. The Miss Budweiser seems to be just dialed in and running quite perfect for us today. And but Circus at second heat there was one hell of a boat race, and it's going to be one hard final. We're looking forward to it. We want to meet Circus in the final, and it's going to be a nice, fast race.
The damage to the wing area of the Oh Boy Alberto. Will it affect the running in the final heat? We're going to find out just moments away as we get ready to determine the winner of the Budweiser Indiana Governor's Cup, another chapter in the HFC Hydroplane Series. Dick Crippen along with Jim Hendrick as we welcome you back to the Ohio River in Madison, Indiana. Forget the points. Let's go for the cash. The final heat of the day for the championship. Miss Budweiser, Tom Dietz will be driving. The Miss Circus, Chip Hanauer. The Mr. Pringles, George Woods Jr. The Winston Eagle, Jim Kropfeld. The Hulset, Miss Madison, Mike Hansen. And the provisional starter, the Oh Boy Alberto, Mark Tate. As they come down to take the start, watch lanes 2 and 3. The Circus in lane 2. Lane 3 is the Miss Budweiser. Right off the bat, Tom Dietz trying to get the advantage on the field. Puts his foot into it and is going to take it hard into the first turn. The Miss Budweiser, red and white, coming into that trouble spot on a turn, and he flies high. It looks like damage to the right side of that boat, Jim, as he tries to keep the power to it. Circus has taken over the lead.
It seemed as though part of that right sponsor seemed to fly in the air, Dick, when he came down, cocked sideways. Now the Circus gets a big jump, and that's that same spot we've warned them about all day long. That is the roughest part of the course, and it took a bite out of Miss Budweiser as we look at our leader and coming around for the first of 5 laps. The others were 3 laps. This is a 5-lap final.
And what's amazing about it is the Miss Budweiser not only got power back, but is holding on to second place. We're going to have to try to check out that damage to the right side sponson and see if Tommy Deeth can in actuality continue the race. A real good run now by Circus Chip Hanauer. He said to me earlier he was going to try to wait and see if Miss Budweiser made a mistake. He was going to have his boat, the Miss Circus, ready to move into position. That's exactly what happened and exactly what he did. It looked like the Miss Budweiser might have caught a roller as she came around on the first lap.
Shades of the last race in Evansville, Indiana, when the Circus made a mistake, went way up in the air, and then came back down at Budweiser, then could not be caught. We'll see if that's the case here on lap number 2.
There you see the Winston Eagle. That boat is now running in 3rd place. That's Jim Kropfeld from Cincinnati, Ohio. The leader still is out of the state of Washington, Chip Hanauer in the Miss Circus. Again, we tell you the Miss Budweiser is running in 2nd place after that damaging blow that it took at the beginning of the race. 130.780 for the Miss Circus, which implies both boats are riding very hard. 4th place now, the multicolored GIF presents Mr. Pringles, George Woods Jr.
As we look at our leader coming off of that corner number 2 and down the back chute here on lap number 3, it is the Circus with Chip Hanauer. Here, 2nd place is the Miss Budweiser, running with a badly damaged right sponson, I might add. And I don't know how he could see how much damage his boat has suffered, but he still has his foot on the throttle.
He must have some indication from the ride of the boat as to what's happening to it, though, and we'll see if we can't pick it up with our cameras here in a moment to show you the damage that might have been done to the right side sponson of the Miss Budweiser. You can see the decking fly off the boat in the incident, but this boat is performing perfectly. This is the Miss Circus, and I know that the pit crew headed by Dave Vilwalk is standing on the sidelines cheering hard and hoping nothing goes wrong with the boat. Mike Hansen is holding on to 5th place in the Hulset Miss Madison, the host boat here in Madison, Indiana. There you can see it. There's a good shot of the damage that's done. I cannot believe that he's powering that boat that hard with that much damage done. I don't know whether he's aware of it.
And one more bounce like that, Dick Crippen, and that boat would wipe the whole right sponson out and would be in real trouble.
I think Tommy Deeth is showing a great display of confidence in his pit crew by keeping that boat up at the speed that he's got it going right now, riding in 2nd place to this boat. The Circus Chip Hanauer has not let off it at all from the very start of this race. He wants to see that checkered flag flying high, which would indicate that he has broken the chain of wins that Tom Deeth has gotten into the past couple of weeks. Jim Kropfeld still staying very competitive in the Winston Eagle, and they have got to just feel real good about that. They had some severe handling problems with that boat. 126.339. Chip Hanauer now settling it down just a bit.
This has been one great race day for over 100,000 fans. And, you know, about this time we ought to thank Denny Jackson, the race chairman, and the assistant race chairman, Dan Carter. They've been very cooperative. And, of course, the president of the Madison Regatta, Dave Taylor, and the vice president, Mark Lytle. Good people with good volunteers. We always enjoy coming to Madison, Indiana.
Mark Tate aboard Oh Boy Alberto. Now, this boat was a provisional starter, which meant that if any of the other boats fell back on the start, he could move up onto the front line with the rest of them. But as a provisional, he had to trail the rest of the field. He has done well to keep the boat competitive. I think they'll be happy with the overall run. Circus on the outside of that boat, getting ready to take the checkered flag. The damage continues to be the big story of the day with the Miss Budweiser, Tom Deeth. Amazing that he even held the boat out there. Here's the checkered flag out for the winner of the final heat. The championship goes to the Miss Circus, Chip Hanauer, 2nd place. An amazing story. The damage to the right sponson, Tom Deeth in the Miss Budweiser. 3rd place will be the Winston Eagle. Jim Kropfeld, Steve Woomer, the entire crew happy with that 3rd place. I'm sure it shows they're competitive. We'll be back to talk to the winner in a moment.
Back here in Madison, Indiana, I'm Jim Hendrick along with Dick Crippen as we look at the final order of finish with Circus Circus winning for the second time in 1990. The HFC High Point Series continues and Miss Budweiser maintains a 375-point lead over its closest competitor, Circus Circus. Let's go to Dick.
Well, Chip, you said you just had to wait for one thing to foul up and you'd be in the position.
Yeah, what we learned through the week is that we couldn't go arcing through these corners with a lot of boat speed or the boat flew away on us. And we got down there and it looks like that's exactly what happened to Tom. So Dave's strategy of just, find a nice comfortable place and don't try and wing it through the corner worked good.
Well, it certainly did work good, but you didn't let up on it at all. You knew that happened to him, but you weren't going to give him a chance to catch it.
No, I was surprised it came down right side up. I thought they were going to black flag the heat, and I just kind of kept my right eye on him. And I was really surprised it stayed right side up, and then he took off after us, so I knew we had to keep rolling.
In slow motion, Miss Budweiser comes off at corner number 2. The boat hits a roller, becomes airborne, cocks to the left, manages to correct when it hits stern first, and Tommy Deeth got a wild ride. Dick Crippen is with the driver in the Budweiser camp.
Well, I think I could best sum it up in the words of Chip Hanauer, who said, I didn't think he was going to come down right side up.
Oh, I tell you what, I didn't think it was either, but the Miss Budweiser definitely came down right side up, minus a few pieces, though, and I chased for a while, but then I started noticing the crack on the right air trap, and it kept getting bigger and bigger, so I just dropped in behind his wake and tried to finish.
You have any idea what happened? It looked like you hit a roller.
Probably hit a real bad roller down there. It was, had a good line through the corner, but the whole corner was just sloppy mess. There's just too many rollers.
Well, the word from the crew chief is it'll be in Syracuse.
Oh, I know that. The Budweiser crew will get this thing ready, and we're ready to go again.
The HFC Hydroplane Series will continue. Next stop, Syracuse, New York, followed by going out west to Tri-City, Washington, Seattle, then back to the Midwest, Milwaukee, Kansas City, back out to the West Coast in San Diego, Las Vegas, then on to Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. If you want to know more about unlimited racing, contact the Commission at 414 Pontius Avenue North, Suite C, Seattle, Washington, or call them at 206-467-1368. Well, we're one-third of the way through the HFC Hydroplane Series for 1990, and the first 4 races, a real Donnybrook between the Miss Budweiser and the Miss Circus Circus.
Yeah, and we saw a great recovery by the Miss Budweiser. Tommy Deeth, I'll tell you, he deserves all the credit, and the wind tunnel testing that they talked about in the offseason for both Miss Circus Circus and the Miss Budweiser evidently paid off in that. But boy, what a win for the Miss Circus Circus. Chip Hanauer had told us earlier in the day that he was just going to wait if there was a slight bit of error by the lead boat in the case of Miss Budweiser, or if he got the inside groove and was able to beat him out on the first turn, he felt he had a shot at it. Well, he had a shot. He took the shot. It went well for him, right on target. Chip Hanauer, a great win for that crew. They've been working hard all year. They deserve it.
And the Winston Eagle and Mr. Pringles showed some improvement. I don't know, boy, we get close to the end of the year. I'm going to hold my breath.
You got it. And don't forget, old boy Alberto's got that turbine in there now. It's going to take us a while to get used to looking at that boat and hearing that whoosh.
Fine win for the Miss Circus Circus Racing team. They deserve every bit of it. Fine show by the Miss Budweiser and all the teams here in Madison, Indiana. Next race, well, we're going to be at Onondaga Lake in Syracuse, New York, as the battle continues. We'll be there. On behalf of Dick Crippen, I'm Jim Hendrick. So long.
The HFC Hydroplane Series is brought to you by Household Finance Corporation, America's financial resource. And by Pringles, the fever reliever. A promotional consideration has been provided by the Ogle House Inn, high atop the Ohio River in Vevey, Indiana. The Ogle House Inn features beautiful accommodations and great Bavarian dining. This has been a production of IPI Sports in association with ESPN.